Hello everyone, welcome to channel Automation. In today's session we will see about exploratory testing type. So far we have seen different type of testing including smoke testing, sanity testing, regression testing, etc. We will also see one more type of testing that is called as exploratory testing. So what exactly is exploratory testing? As the name suggests, explore. In exploratory testing, we have to explore and test at the same time. There are no requirements in the exploratory testing. So, application is ready to test, but there are no requirements which are defined to test that application. In that situation, we have to do exploratory testing. It is a simultaneous learning, test design, and test execution process. We can say that in this testing, test planning, analysis, design, test execution, everything is done at the real time and everything is done together. Instead of following predefined test cases, testers will explore the software freely and dynamically. So in exploratory testing, there are no defined test cases as such. So we have to do exploration of the application dynamically and we have to execute the test cases on it. So basically it depends on testers' creativity and previous experience to identify the defects during the exploratory testing. Exploratory testing is about exploring the system and encouraging real-time and practical thinking of a tester. So, exploratory testing is basically exploring the application during the test execution parallelly. So, testers might not have the requirements for exploratory testing. They have to explore the application. They have to explore the application and perform the testing at the same time. So testers will have to learn about the application while they test it out, adapting their testing strategies based on what they discover. So, as I said, in exploratory testing, the application is ready to test, but there are no requirements which will define what are the exact requirements and what are the features. That documents might not be available. No FRS document, no functional requirement document, no design document, etc. So testers himself or themselves, they have to perform the exploratory testing, explore the application and perform the testing. Exploratory testing is not a scripted testing. It is not a scripted testing. It does not rely on predefined test cases. Testers may use charters or test ideas to give the exploration, but have the flexibility to deviate based on their findings. The success of exploratory testing heavily depends on the tester's domain knowledge, experience, and intuition. So, testers, if there are testers, so application, let's say, take an example, if there is a banking related application, and the tester who is going to do exploratory testing, if previously he had worked on some banking application, then he can perform exploratory testing in better manner because he already have that domain knowledge. So he can explore the multiple features of that application since he is already having knowledge of banking domain. So it totally depends on tester's experience, tester's domain knowledge, etc. And during the exploratory testing, testers makes real-time decisions about what to test next, which allows them quickly to adapt the new information or unexpected behaviors in the application. And as they explore, testers document their findings. So when we are going to do the exploratory testing, while test execution only, we have to note down all the findings. So when we are exploring the application, then we have to document those findings, observations, and any defects they uncover. So whatever are the observations, whatever behaviors are there, all those things we have to document during the exploratory testing. And this documentation can take various forms such as session notes, bug reports, etc. So that depends. While exploring the application, we can document those observations, and those observations, that documentation later can be used as a forms such as session notes or even as a bug reports, etc. So this is about exploratory testing. And when exactly do we use exploratory testing method? So as I said earlier, whenever the application is ready to test, but there are no requirements. In such situation, we can do the exploratory testing as well as early development stages. So to quickly identify the major issues and gain the understanding of the application, testers can perform exploratory testing in early stages as well. Whenever the application is unstable or complex and it is changing rapidly, for scripted testing to be effective. So if application behavior is very random, application is complex, and it is changing behavior rapidly, then we cannot script the test cases for that application. So in such situation also we have to do exploratory testing. Short time frames. Whenever there is a limited time available for testing, we have to do the exploratory testing. It will maximize the effectiveness of the available time. And sometimes exploratory testing can be used as a supplementing scripted testing. So while doing the scripted testing, we can also do the exploratory testing. So it can be used alongside traditional testing methods to explore the areas that are scripted test cases might miss. So let's say during any functional testing which is scripted. So let's take an example. You are exploring some application via traditional testing methods. You have written the test cases and you are exploring that application. But there can be some modules or some features which are not covered in our traditional test cases. So for such modules, we have to do exploratory testing. So these are the situations where we have to perform the exploratory testing. And there are some challenges as well while doing the exploratory testing. So first one is dependence on tester skills. The effectiveness of the exploratory testing can vary significantly based on tester skills and experience. So if the tester is doing exploratory testing and previously he is having good knowledge about that domain, then he can perform the exploratory testing in better manner compared to the tester who is not having that much domain knowledge in that specific application. So that's where testers knowledge, his previous domain, his experience comes into the picture. Lack of documentation. So before starting exploratory testing, we don't have formal documents like function requirement documents, any type of test cases documents. All those documents we don't have during the exploratory testing. It majorly relies on tester's knowledge and how the tester going to explore that application. And in such situation, it can be challenging to replicate some of the test cases or to ensure that everything is properly covered in the coverage. Management related concerns. So managers may find it is harder to track the progress and measure the test coverage compared to scripted testing approaches, because when we are doing the traditional testing way, we have the all the documentation. We write all the test cases, we perform all the test cases, we write down the status of all the test cases, so everything is documented in proper manner. But in the exploratory testing, we don't have such predefined test cases for exploratory testing. So it becomes difficult for managers to track the progress. And apart from that, there is one more major problem or major challenge that can be faced during exploratory testing is misunderstanding of bugs and features. So since there are no requirement documents are available for exploratory testing, there are high chances that some features can be misunderstood as bug, or even some bugs can be misunderstood as features because there are no documents which will define which is feature and which is bug. That's why it can be challenging, because some bugs can be misunderstood as a feature and some features can be misunderstood as a bug while doing exploratory testing. Because in traditional testing, we have all the business requirements, we have all the test cases that will define what is the issue and what is the bug. So anything which is not there in the functional requirements or the behavior which is not expected as per the functional requirements, we consider it as a bug in traditional testing. But in exploratory testing, we don't have such requirement documents. So in such situation, there are high chances that testers might misunderstood some features as bug, and even some bugs can be considered as feature from the tester's perspective as well. So these are some challenges of exploratory testing. So these are some challenges of exploratory testing. And now let's take one example of exploratory testing. Suppose we have a e-commerce application. So we have some e-commerce project which is ready to integrate with new payment gateway. So we have one application which is e-commerce application of online purchasing various type of products, which is totally tested and which is perfectly working fine. And now in that e-commerce application, we want to add some new payment gateway. Now that payment gateway is also a third party application that is also tested and that is also working fine. But we want to do integration of our system and that payment gateway system. So for testers, the application is ready to test. That means let's say we have integrated that e-commerce application with that payment gateway. But there are no requirements because the application is ready to test with that payment gateway, and there are no requirements which are defined the behavior of the payment gateway with our application. So there is no requirement document, and also we don't know the features and what are the different behaviors of that payment gateway with our e-commerce application. So in such situation, we have to perform exploratory testing. So how the testers will proceed for the exploratory testing in such situation? So it totally depends on various scenarios. So testers, as a tester, we have to do exploratory testing around it. So what are the different scenarios which we will consider? So as the name suggests, we have to explore the application. We have to explore the payment gateway with our existing e-commerce application. So in this, we can check different type of features like transaction processing. We have to check the successful payment transactions with different type of payment methods. So in payment gateway, we can perform transactions using credit card, debit cards, net banking, etc. So all those features we have to explore. All type of different type of credit cards and debit cards, net banking, and other payment methods we have to explore. Along with that, we have to also do error handling. We have to verify the error messages and handling for failed transactions such as insufficient funds, incorrect details of the card, etc. So whenever user enters some incorrect card details, or let's say there is not sufficient amount in his account, in such situations, payment gateway will show some error to user that we have to verify, that we have to explore during that exploratory testing. Currency support. So we have to check transactions in different type of supported currencies. So we don't have requirement document. So we don't know what type of currencies will it support. So we have to actually explore those. We have to explore with different type of currencies, whether they are supported or they are not supported. That we have to explore it via exploratory testing. Also, we have to check the payment gateway UI. So we have to check the payment gateway interface for our e-commerce system. So how the UI is displayed, what are the different elements which are displayed, how is the usability of that payment gateway, and how is the responsiveness of on various devices and screen sizes. that we have to verify during payment gateway UI exploratory testing. Authorization and authentication. So we have to test the authorization and authentication process during the payment. Edge cases. So there can be some edge cases as well. Like let's say network interruption while during the payment. So you have initiated the transaction on that payment gateway, but due to some reason, let's say network goes off. So how the situation that is getting handled, that we have to check during this exploratory testing. We have to also verify the transaction history is accurately recorded and displayed on the user's account. We have to also check the proper encryption of sensitive data. For example, card details, OTP, etc. totally need to be secured. And how they are getting transactions, that we have to verify. Refunding process. So on e-commerce application, refund is most frequent scenario. So we have to also explore that whether refund process for various scenarios like full refund or partial refund etc. is working correctly or not. Integration with order management. We have to ensure that successful payments triggers the correct order status and updates. Along with that notifications, we have to also explore that user will receive appropriate notifications like emails or SMS on their devices for various events like payment confirmations, failures and refunds. We have to also explore session handling related scenarios like session timeouts and behavior if the session expired during a transactions. So if the session is expired, that situation should be handled. That is called session handling. That also we have to explore. Retry mechanism. So we have to also check the behavior of the retry mechanism for failed payments. So whenever the payment is getting failed, there should be some kind of a retry mechanism so that user can retry the transactions again. So that we have to explore during exploratory testing. What are the different limits on transactions? If there are any transaction related limits, any maximum amount or any minimum amount, such type of limits also we have to verify. Data validation. Verifying the validation of input fields like card number, expiration date, CVV, etc. And this all we have to explore by ourselves because there are no requirement document available during exploratory testing. So we have to perform various validations by ourselves by exploring the application. And we have to assess the overall user experience during the payment process, looking for any usability related issues or any friction points for end users. So all this comes under the exploratory testing. So whenever we don't have any requirements, in such situation we have to perform the exploratory testing. So that's about the exploratory testing. So basically, what is exploratory testing we have seen? It is exploring the application. So we have to explore the application when there are no requirements. We have to do simultaneous and random type of testing during the exploratory testing. We can document our findings. We can also create the test cases during the execution only. So we have to start the exploring the application. We have to learn the application. We have to learn various features available in the application. And parallelly, we have to also document the findings of the overall test execution. So we have seen how we can cover these scenarios during exploratory testing. And after executing this exploratory testing, while executing or while exploring those features, we have to document all the behaviors and outcomes. So while doing all these scenarios, you will find different type of observations. You will find different type of behaviors. All those things we have to document it. We can maintain those in some documentation. And after completing the exploratory testing, we can create overall report of exploratory testing and we can share that with the team. So we can create the report and we can share that report with the team. And while exploring, if you find something is not correct from the end user's perspective, then we can report that as an issue and we can get it fixed by development team. So this is how overall exploratory testing works during software testing. So thank you for watching this video.